Ladies and gentlemen, buzzards and gulls, welcome to another Wingspan gameplay video. I'm going to try to keep this video a little bit simpler. We're just going to go right into it. I'm going to watch this. I'll try to clip out a lot of the dead time in the game. There's some time where I'm really thinking through my decisions, and I think that's a good habit for anyone trying to get better at this game, to just take your time, play slow, make good decisions. But let's hop right in. So we start the game, we see we've got a willy wagtail in the tray. A lot of controversy around this bird. I think this bird is insanely good. I am a believer in the willy wagtail. However, I do think that you can play against it fairly well too, but it can be difficult. Sometimes your opponent will just reveal, I don't know, what star nests or cup nests are insanely good. Noisy Miner comes to mind. Star Nest, Cup Nest, that game. Even Baltimore Oriole is a pretty good find because you're looking for other things to pair with it. But that black red start is also fairly appealing. When you can get that down in your first round and play around it and build around it, it can be pretty good. I wouldn't say black red start is like A or S tier, but it's definitely a B tier now that we're in Oceania. I think black red start was a little awkward in European and base set. Taking a look at my opening hand, great tit. Fantastic bird, fantastic name. Love that bird. It's one of my favorites in the game. It is easy to start with because it's 3 different costs. And I had to think about this a minute. I kind of wanted that bob white too because then I've got decent egg access and the great tit will make it easy to play that. There's really only one nectar in the tray, but the great tit will reset it and probably get me another one so I could take that, put the great tit down, and then take the nectar, and then take another resource, and then reset the tray, and just get what I need for the bob white and the Corsican nuthatch. But I really want to think about this. Do I really want to play the great tit and just completely forego the red start and the willy wagtail? Obviously, my opponent is probably going to snatch up willy wagtail right away. Might ditch his nectar and take the red start as well. I guess we'll see what happens, but so I do end up just keeping bob white, nuthatch, great tit. My bonus card says cards that eat wheat, so I figured bob white's pretty useful. It's another bird that eats wheat. It's a really useful bird. Again, one of those like B tier birds that when you play it in anything that generates extra eggs, whether it be in the grasslands or obviously in another habitat, is generally good. I think the bob white was pretty good in previous sets because grassland engines were so good. And now that grassland engines aren't as good, bob white stayed right about the same because you don't really want to be using your grasslands, or rather you want to be using it as little as possible. But bob white helps you get just a little bit more oomph out of that grasslands so that you can use it less, if that makes sense. Then yellowhammer shows up. It's a bird that eats wheat. It's one of my favorite birds to play around. Those Maltones, yellowhammer, and the white wagtail I think is the third one that you can play a bird at the end of the round if you've used all of your actions. I was really looking for something to go in my Letlands, so I was kind of just looking at that Saquon or Squako heron. I don't know how to say that, but I figured that would be a good like consolation prize, and I can just focus on my other engines and just try to get an extra card out of it every now and then. Maybe find something that tucks those extra junk cards that the heron gets me, or maybe the heron finds something good, but I didn't want to take it and I didn't have any wetlands options yet, so I sat here, I thought about it, and decided I think I just want to get this great tit down as quickly as possible and just start taking food. I figured more birds will show up. I wanted yellowhammer, but I felt it was a little awkward right now because I don't have any wetlands yet. So the next turn comes back to me and I decide, okay, yep, I can play yellowhammer. I think it'll work for what I'm doing. I thought about it more. I had another turn to sit there and decided, with Willy Wagtail down, it's probably gonna, go. And I still kind of want it, so I'll hope to find another wetlands option later. Right now, I do want to work with the yellow hammer. You'll see that a lot this game. I had some indecisiveness about birds in the tray and deciding whether I want them or not. Starling looking really appealing. Um, I'm going to be building a nice engine of food with this great tit already starting it, so the starling felt like it would be really good points. It also only costs one, and one cost birds are generally good, but especially when you've got a yellow hammer. Um, Yellow hammer, the awkward part is getting enough food for everything. I've got a great tit, I've got it started, but even in this first round, it can be really awkward to try to play yellow hammer and starling. Starling is also a wetlands bird, so that kind of solves that problem. And then the sacred kingfisher shows up. And I just took the starling, which those two go well together because the sacred kingfisher just gains a bunch of extra food throughout the game for free, and you can just ditch at the end of the game, especially all of your excess food from your kingfisher onto your starling. So I really wanted that as well. However, I really need to start getting some birds down, and there's a feeder with a nectar in it. I'll probably end up getting two. I do. So I decided, all right, we'll forgo this kingfisher. Again, really wanted it. I think this is, in retrospect, a mistake. I think I should have taken the the kingfisher, but I decided to take some food, and then I think this next turn I just come back and take it anyway. So I gave my opponent a chance to play against me pretty well with the kingfisher, and I really shouldn't. I think that was a mistake of my opponent not taking that kingfisher. I wonder if he just had enough birds in hand and didn't want to deal with it. Um, I think in the opening rounds is when you can take the hits and just play things a little slower to get good birds that show up in the tray. Again, I think I made another mistake here. I think I end up playing it right now. Oh no, I did. I just took food. Okay, because it has everything I need. I left the kingfisher there again. 2 rounds, I gave my opponent a chance to take it from me, but I also left 2 nectar in the tray for him. I think that baited him into taking that instead. And then with his wagtail, I don't know how this goes because I know. Oh, he took birds and he didn't take the kingfisher. And that was so strange to me. He took the bustard, and bustard's fine, but I just figured with the way I'm building, I think kingfisher makes a lot of sense. And then I wanted to just play my starling, but I thought about it. I was like, all right, one of these turns I have to play the yellowhammer. One of these turns I have to lay eggs. So then one other turn I can do something else. I can either take food, I can lay more eggs, do whatever. Taking food is probably not, or laying eggs is probably not the play. I know it contributes to the end around goal, but I decided, you know what? I really want the. There are 2 birds in the tray that I really want. Oh yeah, another mistake. Kingfisher is just chilling there. And 3 turns later, I really should have taken this, because watch what happens next. Kingfisher is still there. I have 1 more turn to work with, and then I do have to lay eggs. And I decide, all right, well, I've got what I need to play something with the yellow hammer. I might as well take the kingfisher, and I can ditch a nectar in the process. I thought, okay, I'll just lay eggs, and I'll decide in a minute what I want to do with my last turn. I think I decided to take this kingfisher and then the European robin. It was there a turn before, and my opponent should have 100% taken the robin. I think this is actually where this game really swung my favor, because he started with that wagtail, and the wagtail could have easily taken that robin. And I don't want to criticize too much because I don't know what was in his hand, I don't know what his plan was, and those are 2 birds that are really good for him and really bad for me. Because that European robin helps him so much. I think this card is just as good as the Great Tit. It's right on par with it. They do the same thing of just gaining an extra food. They're 4 costs, they have plenty of egg space, and they're 4 points, and they get plenty of egg space. And I think, with my plan now of doing starling and having 2 great food generators, it all makes sense now. I know what I'm doing. So I think with Yellowhammer, I just need to use one nectar. I think I put down my Kingfisher now. Yeah, because I need to lay eggs. That has to happen. And it contributes to the end of round. In order to use the Yellowhammer, I do have to lay eggs anyway, so. Yeah, and then use the Yellowhammer. And I couldn't decide what to play, but I decided, you know what? He's probably going to start taking food every now and then. I should put down this Kingfisher to start gaining that extra card food. I'm not going to ditch anything with the Starling anyway, because I just know, and I need to use the nectar, so thought about it, yeah, and decided to play it down there because I wanted to tie the end around, so I needed to play something in the wetlands. And then lo and behold, northern brown kiwi, North Island brown kiwi. These birds in real life are super funny, actually, if you've seen videos of kiwis. The two birds that followed, the white wagtail and the white-bellied sea eagle, were kind of painful to see because I don't know how the tray refills in this in the game, but either one of them would have been better than this reed warbler. Um, Especially that white wagtail. If that was the next bird with that North Island brown kiwi, that's super easy to play that bird and just super great. I don't really need a fish or a rodent, but it's fine. It's just fodder for the starling eventually. Crimson Chat looks okay. It can turn excess food into points, but I've already kind of got a way to do that, so I decided I didn't need that. I don't think I grabbed that. Thought about playing Nuthatch next. I don't think I do. I think I thought it through and I was like, all right, I got to use every action anyway. Um, the European Robin is my #1 priority at this point. So I have to get that down. So I take food, 2 nectar, fantastic. Reset it, 1 more nectar. That's a perfect reveal for the Great Tit because it doesn't leave him any nectar to take. We got 2 for that. We got plenty of birds that eat wheat. We're looking good here. This is where everything's coming together, and now it's just gather your resources, play your food, plan it all out. The thing I like about Yellowhammer is I tend to play too quickly sometimes. When I'm in tournament games, I have it like written on my desk, play slow, take your time. So the thing I like about Yellowhammer and Wagtail and well Tony's is that they force me to slow down. I have to, in order to play these birds, in order to build around them, you have to plan it out. And it just makes me play smarter. It just forces me, I'm easily distracted. I want to get things done. I want to move quickly. And with a Yellowhammer, I have to think, okay, I need to lay eggs once. So I've got 3 turns left. What do I want to do in those next 3 turns? I probably want to get this starling down and start pumping food into it. The other 2 that are in my hand, the kiwi, the Corsican, even the bobwhite. Bobwhite would be great. Gets me some extra eggs as I start using that action throughout the game. So right here, I kind of made a decision too quickly. I haven't decided if I'm taking food next turn or not, and I know I need a worm, so I decided to take it. But I probably should have taken a fish there. And the reason is because I do end up taking food here, which is also a mistake. If I know I'm going to take food next turn, then there's no reason to take a worm there. I should just take a fish and go from there. However, looking at the tray, this rufous owl and this white-bellied sea eagle pop up. Both are excellent for forest engines, especially with the food access that I have. The Yellowhammer is going to help me play them. I just think it makes so much sense to go after both of those because they're high point birds, they generate more points. I have plenty of time. 4 more turns to use one of them and snatch them up now. I should have just taken them right now instead of taking food, which I did end up doing. As you can see, this game went well for me. I think it went really well for what I was trying to do. But there was another mistake because I'm pretty sure that Sea Eagle and Rufus Owl were really valuable, and I turned them down. If it was just one of them, you know, when I'm operating like this and I don't really have other ways of drawing cards, I think it's really important, a lesson from this game, a lessons learned, that when good cards show up and you don't have a ton of good card access, you need to snatch them up. You know, I've got this one bird down there. I'm not drawing other ones that draw cards. I don't have a way to generate cards elsewhere. So when 2 good birds show up, you know, Caleb, you got to snatch those up. So I decided to play the Bobwhite. I've got plenty of nectar for it. I think I decided to play the Bobwhite because I know I need to lay eggs once, so I might as well get another egg for it. I also have a reed warbler and plenty of food that I can ditch for that extra egg from that 3rd slot in the grasslands. So reed warbler, it's generally a decent bird to use, but you know, it's not game breaking. You should never be too attached to any, or most cards you shouldn't be too attached to. In this case, even starling can go if something else shows up that's better. I would say the North Island brown kiwi is the only bird in my hand right now that absolutely must keep that bird. That card can be so incredibly powerful at the end of the game. However, with the North Island brown kiwi, I really need to find other bonus card generators. Like a really good one to pair it with is the 3-worm or wetlands bird that is escaping me. But you essentially draw 1 bonus card, and then you also draw 3 cards, keep 1, and it's 7 points, costs 3 worms. I'm sure in the comments you can tell me what that bird is called. That one can be really good because that one often misses. You'll draw a subpar bonus card, and then this North Island brown kiwi can ditch it, and then you can get 4 options. So that can be really good. But I look at that white-bellied sea eagle and Rufus Owl one more time, and I have 2 turns left. One of them has to be laying eggs. The other does not. So I think we're good. So I decide to snatch him up. I'll play him next round. The Yellowhammer, I can always just drop the Starling as a consolation. I'd love to get more engine going, but you don't have to. Totally fine. So I know I have to lay eggs in order to use the Yellowhammer, and I believe I use the Yellowhammer to just drop a common Starling. So looking at it, I also, the Bobwhite also helps me fulfill the end around goals. Looks like I didn't turn in, I thought I did. I thought I turned in a resource here. And yeah, the reed warbler goes. I think that one fits the least with what I'm trying to do here. That bird is basically a point, you know, and it doesn't fit an egg nest that I'm trying to, or a nest type that I'm trying to fulfill. And I realized I also needed 1 more egg, otherwise I don't hit this end around bonus, because Yellowhammer is going to use an egg. So, big brain place. Good job, past Caleb, planning that out. And then starting into this next round, I believe Sea Eagle, Rufus Owl are like #1 priorities. I wanted to get all 3 of them down basically, and the Corsican nuthatch. I just wanted to get all 3 of those going. And then if I had to, I could use the Yellowhammer for the nuthatch, but I think Yellowhammer finally gets the Starling down, and then I start using it. I think that's how this ended up going, but we'll see. Perfect. Get a free worm. Always good to take the grain. Oh, sorry, don't get a free worm. Get a free rodent, because I know I've got 2 birds that absolutely need rodents. I always think that Rufus Owl looks funny. One of my friends sent me a screenshot of it. It says it's staring into your soul. So we drop the starling. Use a wheat for it because I've got plenty of those. Use one of the eggs in the forest so I can still contribute to that. And then looking at what I've got food-wise, you know, what food do I not need? Well, I actually can use every piece of food here, but I also know I can generate tons of food. And I thought about just ditching all of it. But I think what I end up doing is keeping the wheat. Maybe I did keep an owl or a rodent. Yeah, okay, so I just kept one rodent because that's gonna get my Rufus owl and my sea eagle down. I think that was an okay decision. The Barrow's Goldeneye is looking real nice. You know, if my opponent needs to lay eggs, I know it's not that good against me. I'm only going to be laying eggs a couple more times. And then I look at his board and I'm like, oh yeah, he's playing Black Red Start. So yeah, there is no reason to take that Goldeneye. It doesn't play against me well. It doesn't help me all that much, so it's just a waste of food. Black-throated Diver, also consideration. I can get it down, but again, I'd rather just work on my Rufus Owl and my Eagle and just try to get big point birds if I'm going to draw birds. I know I have to draw birds at some point, so it's good to just kind of take good ones when you see them, but they didn't seem good enough for me. I even thought about it. I hovered over them. If I did take them, if past me did take them, I think that's a mistake. I don't think I did, though, because I don't remember using them. Yeah, the Goldeneye also is a weed eater, but I think I can find better ones than that. So take the wheat, reset it. Yep, see that. And then I look at my birds and I'm like, can I ditch a card? And no, I cannot. I want to play all of these. So always a tough decision. That's what I hate about, I love and hate about that about this game, is that when you're taking food, those third and fourth slots in the forest, they really make you make tough choices. So looking at my food, I've got 5 food here, and I've got 3 eggs, which is what I need to get the forest going. So if I had 6 food here, and if I look back, I ditched a fish with the starling. I think that was a mistake, because if I had a fish right now, oh wait, no, not a fish. A fish doesn't help me. Okay, so never mind. This actually worked out fine. I decided nuthatch to get the information of what I would need. I know I'm probably playing those, but sure enough, 3 cost foods, absolutely dirty. Love to see it. So that nuthatch, that one is super good with the kiwi as well. I thought that would... I was kind of hoping it would show a bad bonus card. And food costs 3, diet specialist. It's not top tier, but it's definitely like A or B or even A. But I wouldn't consider it. I mean, like, mechanical engineer is like the easiest 8 points in the world. The upside of rodentologist would be really good here because I've got 2 that I'm going to play in my hand, and I've got 1 down. And Benelli's Eagle shows up there, which is super fun. The Gala shows up, which I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that Gala could be so good. I've got plenty of Nectar right now. I could easily just use one and get a 3rd card for the Eagle, so I'd go ahead and do that. American Robin, it's a good junk card. Love to see it. It's also a nest, or a cup nest, so that was something he can't use now. I don't think he would use that, but anytime you can snipe a cup nest from a Willy Wagtail, that's a good thing. So I look at my hand, I can play the Eagle or the Rufus Owl. Rufus Owl is a safer play. It hits a lot more than the Sea Eagle, but they both hit fairly often. I'm looking at Gala and I'm looking at Sea Eagle, and I don't think it's actually better in this case because it gains me 2 points each time. So the first time I use it, I'm still, you know, let's say they all hit. My Rufus Owl or my Sea Eagle, they are worth 1 extra point when I've used it, and the Gala is worth 2 extra points. So it really comes down to the Gala. The Gala is only better if it hits, if I use it like 3+ times. And I look at the way I'm playing, I look at how many turns I've got left. I don't see myself using the Gala. I don't see myself using Sea Eagle and Rufusal 3 total times. So I actually don't play the Gala here. And I also don't, I would have to force it down. I did hover it for a second. And I would have to force this down. There's no getting around that. I also know I have to lay eggs one more time this turn, so I think I made a good decision here. Put the Rufusal down, cost me the 2 eggs, and then I've got 2 turns left. I can... Yeah, I've got 2 turns left. I know one of them has to be laying eggs, and the other one I probably just need to take food, or I could take cards for Benelli's Eagle if I really wanted to use that. But I think I saved the points for the end of the game, the point birds for the end of the game, and I know I'm probably going to take food a couple more times, or like at least one more time, if not 2 more times. So the Sea Eagle is actually super worth it to try to get down. Decide to take a worm here so that it's not easy to reset the feeder in case he needs to take food one more time. I need to lay eggs, so... And I do need to take food in order to get resources for... And I took the worm... Oh yeah, because it's safe. I know I'm going to reset, so I'm probably looking for nectar on the reset. And I got 1, which is fine, because now European Robin can get it. And then Great Tit will probably get 1 as well. Perfect. So now I have 3 nectar that I can now use on Sea Eagle. I could use them on Gala as well, but I don't. But now it's like, I know I have to use every action for Yellow Start in the final round. So Gala doesn't make sense because I won't use it the 3 times required to outvalue the Sea Eagle. I know it's eggs in the wetlands this time. I am going to draw cards next turn. I have to use Yellow Hammer, so I decided to ditch a card instead of a food this time, because I know I can use the food on the Starling. I also just figured I probably am not winning this end of round. That's one thing with the Yellow Hammer I find. It's actually kind of hard to win the end of rounds and still use your Yellow Hammer. Not impossible. Depends on what your opponent's doing. But if your opponent is focusing on end of rounds, then you're not going to win those probably. That's what I find, at least. I don't know, maybe I'm just bad. So I go ahead and use the Yellow Hammer first, because then I've decided what I'm going to use. I decided to use the Sea Eagle because I know I'm taking food 1 more time, so it'll probably get me another point. I might take food 2 more times, so it might get me 2 more points. The Kiwi can just go in the grasslands. I think what I was thinking about here is whether or not to use the Gala or the Sea Eagle, because in the final round you basically get to use 1 action twice, and then you use the other actions once with Yellow Hammer. And if I use the Gala in the grasslands, I could theoretically lay eggs twice and get 2 uses out of it, but I decided in the end that really doesn't make sense. So we do end up playing Sea Eagle. I thought about even putting it there because I know I'm going to draw cards 1 more time, but I'm probably not drawing cards twice. I'm definitely going to need as much food as possible. So I do decide Sea Eagle in the forest makes sense. Use all my nectar. That was a mistake, using all the nectar. I should have looked at my opponent. He's got 6 nectar. I should have just put myself at what would be... Oh no, that wasn't that bad of a mistake. I put myself at 10 nectar so that he has no chance of overtaking me. And I figured, you know, with taking food twice in this next round, I could probably win the nectar battle in all 3. And so I do try to do that. And then a black-tailed godwit shows up in the tray for me. And we love to see that. We love when birds show up the way we want them to. We know that's happening. We don't have a nectar, obviously, so we do decide to ditch an egg to draw an extra card because it's gonna be fodder for Benelli's anyway. So we've drawn cards. That one's out of the way. Now we need to lay eggs at some point, so we have to decide what birds we want down first before we lay eggs. We don't put any birds in the forest, obviously, so we're probably taking food next. In fact, I'm 100% certain because there's good food in the tray that we can use. This is where I counted out, right? I want Godwit down, I want Eagle, and then I want North Island Brown Kiwi. So if I play birds twice, and then I yellow hammer once, then that means I just need 6 total food to get this to work, which I can definitely get 6 food in one action out of my forest, and then I just need to lay eggs. Now I've only got 1 egg left, and I almost made a really crucial mistake. I know I need, in order to play them all, I need 2 eggs to play one of them, and I need 1 egg for the other 2. I'll play 1 in the wetlands and 2 in the grasslands. And if I play 2 in the grasslands, then my eggs action can be just a little better, although I don't think I have a way to do that. I re-roll the bird feeder, and I'm a little heartbroken because it's not good. I've got the food I need, like the current food that I have, the worms and the wheats. So then the fish and the rodent hurts, but so I take a nectar, count that out. Missed with the sea eagle. Decide the yellow-bellied cuckoo is probably not valuable to him. And then I hit with the great tit as well. So I know the Godwit and the The Godwit is going to give me 1 more bonus card to work with. And I think about playing the Gala instead, and then just laying eggs twice instead of playing 2 birds. But I don't think that makes sense for me. I think it's worth way more to just play the Godwit and the Kiwi. So I look at this and I'm like, okay, I need to try to win the end of game nectars, right? So if I use 2 nectar here, that will contest him winning the nectar, and I can still use the starling for more nectar if needed. But then I think about it more and I think, oh wait, I don't have to make this decision yet. I can actually use Benelli's first and let him place his nectar or use his nectar first so that I can try to win the end around nectar game this way. Also, by using the Godwit, I would not be able to lay the eggs that I need next. So it just made so much more sense to use the Benelli's Eagle. Any food I ditch for eggs isn't that big of a deal, it's just 1 less food that I can use on the starling. Anytime he takes food, my Kingfisher gets me 1 more point for starling, so that's fun to see. Common Swift, a little late to the party, would have been really nice, but can't draw it now, I don't have time. I just want to lay eggs and play one of these birds. I'm ditching the excess food just to make sure I have plenty of eggs. I know I can use 3 nectar on the North Island Brown Kiwi. And I don't know what the Godwit and the Kiwi are going to reveal, so I decided to put all the eggs on 1 bird, the robin. Just in case it's the only good option is birds with 4 eggs on them and I have to take a point. In retrospect, that doesn't really make sense either. So it really doesn't matter where I put the eggs, because I'm going to be using 3 of them. So now I see he's got 2 nectar, and I can win potentially both nectar fights if I use these correctly. Because if he puts 2 in the grasslands, that puts him at 6, and I can like tie and then, oh, I can't win them both, but so he does get to 6 nectar there, which means I just need 2 to win the grasslands, and then I can use the other 1 to tie the wetlands. So he's got 4 there, and I'll just put 1 in there and then tie it. But then I realize, okay, theoretically he could get 1 more nectar there somehow. So I look at the turn count, and it's like, no, there's only 1 turn left. There's no way. So I do this to make sure I tie. And then we see what we draw, and it's per power color in 1 habitat, which is also good. But I kind of wanted junk, because then then this North Island brown kiwi can go ham. So I look at this greater prairie chicken, and I was like, well, I have what I need for it. Do I just want to do that? So I take it just in case I do. And I look at it, it's like you get 1 less point, and either way, you get 1 more bonus card. But I decided, okay, I've got 7, 6, and 6. I might as well see what the kiwi can get, because I can probably ditch and try to get like another 6 and an 8, you know, and get 3 looks at a new bird. Looking at it, I ended up losing 1 point compared to the prairie chicken, I believe, but the prairie chicken's 1 less point, so it ended up being a wash. Either one of them would have gotten me the same amount of points, I think, assuming the 2 on the left of the draw 4 bonus cards are the ones that count. You'll see in a sec. So now come to the end of the game, use the yellow hammer to play the kiwi. Looking at it, by playing 2 with the kiwi, you can, you know, it does 6 of one, half a dozen the other, whether you win the nectar in the grasslands or you win the nectar in the wetlands. Down. And then I decide to ditch the diet specialist because it's 6 points. And I draw what ends up being 5 and 3, so 8 points. If I had taken the prairie chicken, and let's say I just draw the 2 3 points on the left, which I think is how that works, I would have gotten 3 either way. So I lose 1 point by doing it this way compared to the prairie chicken, but the prairie chicken's worth less and less points, so it washes out. I figured the North Island brown kiwi also qualifies for a bunch of bonuses by it being a star nest and being a star wingspan, so I decided that was probably safer point-wise. Overall, feeling pretty good at this point. I don't know if anyone else finds it really soothing to just listen to the point total start counting up, especially at the end of the game. Anyway, thanks for sticking around till the end here. Really appreciate it. If you like the video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. Um, I always really appreciate any feedback or any support, so feel free to engage. It really helps the YouTube algorithm get my channel off the ground. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed and have a wonderful day.